crazy last several weeks now. It's been a while since I made a video, but it has been a busy time, as I'm sure it's still pretty crazy for most people with the pandemic and everything. I just wanted to do a quick little update to explain my absence, but I did get a new job. I went through almost 6 weeks of training, and now I'm working from home, so that's been really great, especially during COVID. It's nice to be home and have the privilege to not have to worry about going into the office or anything like that. So I've been adjusting to my new schedule a little bit, but I will be making videos more regularly now. And yeah, so that's my update. Sorry it's been a while. I'm back. And today I thought it would be fun to do my POPSUGAR reading challenge, TBR. So they just came out with this, I believe, on December 1st. It's just a bunch of prompts for different books to read throughout the year. I think everyone just kind of does whatever order they want to, but it's just a bunch of great ideas for books to read. I tried my hardest to pick books that I already have, whether that's ebooks, physical books, or audiobooks, and I think I did pretty good. A couple are some rereads, like things I read back in high school or college that I haven't read in a while, so I'm counting those too. So yeah, let's get into it. This is going to be, it's a really long list, so I'm not going to really explain every book very thoroughly, just because this video will be 3 hours long if I do that. So I'm kind of just gonna list them, and yeah, we'll just see what happens. Okay, so this first one is a book that's published in 2021. So I actually recently signed up for NetGalley, which has been really fun. I've been reading a lot on my Kindle lately, but I do have an ARC for a book that's coming out early 2021. It's called Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I'll put a picture. I believe it's YA. I really enjoy Greek mythology and retellings, as you probably know if you've been here a while. I don't really read a lot of YA, so that'll be interesting to see mythology through that lens, but I am excited for that one. Next, we have an Afrofuturist book, and I picked The Intuitionist. I actually just got this. I got a curated little stack from Good Books, ATL, I believe is what they're called. I love Colson Whitehead. I really enjoyed The Nickel Boys and The Underground Railroad, so I'm really excited about this one too. I hadn't really heard of this, I don't think, before I got it, so I'm really excited to read another one of his novels. Next one is a book that has a heart, diamond, club, or spade on the cover, and I chose Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. I've had this for a while. It was an old book of the month pick. I just haven't read it for whatever reason. I follow her on Instagram. I think she's really funny and smart and interesting, so definitely been meaning to read this, and now I have an excuse to read it, and there is the aforementioned diamond. So this prompt was one that was kind of hard. It took me a while to find this, but it's a book with an author who shares your zodiac sign. It took me forever. Apparently every author in the world is either born in November, December, January, but I finally found one, Rebecca Solnit. I hope this is right. That's what the internet told me. Rebecca Solnit, Field Guide to Getting Lost. This is one I talked about in my thrifted books haul, but I've heard a lot of great things about Rebecca Solnit, and now I know she's a Cancer. I'm a Cancer. Gotta love it. The next one is a dark academia book. I chose Never Let Me Go. I saw this movie in college and it's really good. It's very sad and upsetting. But this is, again, another one I've had on my TBR forever. Yeah, I love the movie, so I'm interested to see how this differs from the movie adaptation. Next is a book with a gem, mineral, or rock in the title, and I chose Girl with a Pearl Earring. This is one that I got quite a while ago, thrifting with my friend Diana. I picked it because I liked the cover, and I didn't really, I mean, I've seen this art before. I didn't realize that it was a book, but I guess it's pretty popular. It's a best-selling novel, apparently, according to the back, so yeah, should be good. I didn't have any other books with gems or rocks or minerals on it, so we're going with Pearl. This next one's kind of cheating. It is a book where the main character works at your current or dream job. So I picked a nonfiction book, Pandora Sykes, her essay collection, How Do We Know We're Doing It Right? Technically, there's not a main character because it's essays. But Pandora Sykes is a journalist, a really great writer. She hosted the HIIII podcast, co-hosted, rest in peace, that just had its last episode the other day. But anyway, yeah, I'm counting this because she's a writer, and I think it'd be really awesome to be a writer professionally. So I'm counting this. Next is a book that has won the Women's Prize for Fiction. So I picked Half of a Yellow Sun for this one. I have a few thick books in this pile. We'll see how 2021 goes, but as of now, I have plenty of time to read this, so we'll see. Hello? Hello? Sir? Can I help you? Next is a book with a family tree, and this one, there's a bird on the balcony. Anyway, the next one is A Book with a Family Tree, and again, this was like so hard to find. You'd think that like generational sagas, you'd think all of them would have family trees, but they don't. I found one in Crazy Rich Asians. I've already read the series, but it was really fun, so I figured, hey, I'll give this first one another read. Maybe the whole series again, who knows? Kind of a wild card like that. I'm very thankful for the family tree because it makes it a lot easier to keep up with everyone when there's so many different characters. Next is a bestseller from the 1990s. This is one that was in one of my other TBR videos, probably, I think, The Reading Rush. I obviously didn't get around to it, but The Virgin Suicides. Love the movie. We'll try again next year and see how that goes. Another big one, a book about forgetting. I picked The Buried Giant. Thrifted. There are some cute stains on the front. Sometimes savage, often intensely moving, Kazuo Ishiguro's first novel in a decade is about lost memories, love, revenge, and war. I think this is also kind of like a fantasy adventure type of novel, but yeah, it seems really sweet and good. Next up is a book you've seen on someone's bookshelf. My inspiration for this was Sunbeam's Jess. I'm kind of just going off her. I love her videos, and this is a book she has talked about before. Everyone's talked about it lately, I think, actually. It is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I really love the cover. The colors are just beautiful. But this one has been everywhere the last few months. Again, heard just great things about it all the way around. And I think Jess gave it a good review, so that's always nice. Next is a locked room mystery. So just a mystery where everyone's locked in a room, I guess, or they can't get away. I chose Murder on the Orient Express. I guess this is the movie tie-in version, but it's a classic. I love whodunits. This one will be fun. It looks pretty short. It has like pictures from the movie in it. Gotta love a good mystery. Next is a book set in a restaurant. I actually chose another book that's set to come out next year. It's called Mango and Peppercorns. I'm not 100% sure on this one too, if it really counts, but I'm counting it. It's a powerful memoir of resilience, friendship, family, and food from the acclaimed chefs behind the award-winning Hai Vong Vietnamese restaurant in Miami. Through powerful narrative, archival imagery, and 20 Vietnamese recipes that mirror their story, Mango and Peppercorns is a unique contribution to culinary literature. I think that counts. I love a good memoir. I love learning about different cultures, so yeah. Next up is a book with a black and white cover. This again is a giant hunk of book. I picked The Splendid and the Vile. It is historical narrative, I guess you would say. A history basically of Winston Churchill's time as prime minister, a mixture of the historical side in the war and everything on that side, and then also the personal drama in Churchill's life at the time. So I don't know a lot about Winston Churchill, but I do like history, and I think this will be interesting. Kind of a look at England during that specific time in history. I just think that will be neat to read about. The next one is a book by an Indigenous author, and I picked The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, which from what I've seen, it is kind of dark. I don't know if it's a mystery per se. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, but from what I've seen, it is very good, but kind of disturbing at some parts. No spoilers, but I've kind of read some things about it that are kind of upsetting. But yeah, this is another one that I feel like everyone's been talking about, and it's been very highly praised, so hopefully it's not too creepy for me. Next is a book that has the same title as a song. I had to Google this one because I could not think of anything. Apparently there's a Linkin Park song called In Pieces. So I chose In Pieces by Sally Field. Again, this is for my thrift haul. Sally Field's memoir looks very interesting. Again, love memoirs, so this one should be good. And I feel like I have to listen to that Linkin Park song now. Is that a rule? I don't know. Next is a book about a subject you're passionate about. I picked Girl, Woman, Other. It is a feminist work. I'm passionate about feminism. This one, the Booker, I think it was, I don't really keep up with awards, honestly. I think it was tied and everyone was mad about it, but technically won the Booker, and I just love how this feels. That's really weird, but they made this really well. I love good feminist work. I'm very interested in feminist literature and theory. I'm happy to have an excuse to read this finally. Next is a book that discusses body positivity, and I picked Hunger by Roxane Gay. She's an iconic author, writes a lot about feminism, body positivity. I've never read anything from her. I've been meaning to, I don't know I haven't, but again, I love reading challenges because they give you an excuse to read books that you haven't read yet. So next is a book found on a Black Lives Matter reading list, and I picked Their Eyes Were Watching God. I still haven't taken this stupid sticker off. It was a super buy. Perhaps the most widely and highly regarded novel in the entire canon of African American literature. So this is a classic, and this one again is an annotated copy, which will be interesting. I hope it doesn't detract from my experience. I don't really read annotated copies, but I see we wrote a lot of notes. I'm really interested in reading more Black classic novels, so this is definitely high on the list. Next is a genre hybrid, and I picked The Water Dancer, which I believe is a mixture between historical fiction and fantasy. I love historical fiction. Love some fantasy, I'm getting into it. But that is just such an intriguing mixture. I think this is a perfect book for this prompt. And this is another one that I've had for a while, but just haven't read it yet. It's been on a lot of lists, especially recently, for, you know, prolific Black authors. This one I think is can be very distressing. Something to keep in mind if you're wanting to read it. Next is a book set mostly or entirely outdoors. I picked In the Sea There Are Crocodiles. I borrowed this from my sister. It's based on a true story about a boy who basically his journey immigrating, trying to find safety as he went through, I want to say, Iran, Turkey, and Greece, and then found political asylum in Italy at the age of 15. So it kind of follows his journey as he goes from place to place seeking asylum. And I believe it's mainly set outdoors, I would imagine. Bitterly cold mountains, being stuffed into the false bottom of a truck, steering an inflatable raft in violent waters. Yeah, so it sounds like it takes place mainly outdoors. And it seems really heartbreaking, but ultimately heartwarming. Next is a book with something broken on the cover. I chose A Woman Is No Man. And technically, I think the cover is kind of broken, so we're going with that. A heart-wrenching story of love, intrigue, courage, and betrayal that will resonate with women from all backgrounds, giving voice to the silenced and agency to the oppressed. Another great book for the feminists out there. I've heard that it is a great novel, especially for a debut, so this one should be really good as well. Next is a book by a Muslim American author, and I chose The Kite Runner. I feel like I read this in high school. I don't remember if I actually finished it, but I did watch the movie, and the movie was so good. But I'm excited to read this again. Next is a book that was published anonymously. I picked The Epic of Gilgamesh. It is a teeny tiny little book. I read this in college for one of my philosophy classes. Yeah, it'll be, again, an interesting one to revisit now that I don't have a professor walking me through it. What I remember of it, it was, you know, it's a good story. Definitely is really old. I think it was like the first recorded novel or something like that. But yeah, this will be fun. There aren't many anonymous books, I don't think. Frankenstein was apparently, but I don't own that. I own this one, so. Next is a book with an oxymoron in the title. This is another one that I had so much trouble with just because, I don't know, people don't title their books with oxymorons often, but Another big fat one. Can you guess it? Guess it. Midnight Sun. I looked it up. Apparently it is an oxymoron, so if I'm wrong, it's not my fault. But I was a huge Twilight fan, and I got this really soon after it came out, but I haven't read it. It's kind of daunting. It's had mixed reviews, so we'll see if my love can last through the ages. The test of time. We will see, Stephanie Meyer. We will see. Next is a book about do-overs or fresh start. I picked Under the Tuscan Sun. It's about, I think it's this woman, it's like restoring a house and just kind of finds herself through that process. So I think that's what it's about. Don't test me on it, but it just seems like it will whisk me away to a summer paradise, and I've always wanted to go to Italy, so yes, this just seems really fun. And I love the cover. Pictures, really cute. Next up is a magical realism book. I'm going to read Love in the Time of Cholera for this one. Oprah's book club pick. Marquez is an iconic magical realism author. Never read anything by him yet. I'm excited for it. I don't read much magical realism, I don't think, so we'll see how one of the masters does it. Next is a book set in multiple countries, and I picked Dominicana by Angie Cruz. It is set between the Dominican Republic and the United States. I think it's mainly set in New York, but it's technically both, so we're going with this. This is another one, book of the month, many moons ago, that I bought and never read, so we'll see. I keep rubbing books a lot. That's really weird. Sorry. Next is a book set somewhere you'd like to visit in 2021. Fingers crossed. You know, if it happens, I'd love to go to Ireland. Picked Normal People by Sally Rooney. I loved Conversations with Friends. This was from my reading rush. I never read it. Haven't read it. Everyone and their mothers read it. There's a TV show out now. There's been memes. I will let you know how I feel about it. Next is a book by a blogger, vlogger, YouTube video creator, or other online personality. So this is also one I had some trouble with. I've never really read much by online personalities. But I had a guy on my shelf, so I picked John Green. He started off on YouTube, so he counts. I'm going to read An Abundance of Catherines. I've never read it. Not sure what it's about. I guess just about a bunch of girls named Catherine. A guy who dates a lot of Catherines and then makes a theorem of underlying Catherine predictability. We'll see. Next is a book whose title starts with Q, X, or Z. Again, really hard because, I mean, I'm sure that's why they picked it. Not many book titles start with those letters, but I picked another arc that I have called Quincredible. It's a graphic novel about this, I think he's a teenager, and then he like gets a superpower when this event happens. And he's kind of like a nerd who suddenly has a superpower. I don't know, it seems really fun and cute. But yeah, it starts with a Q, Quincredible. So this one, A Woman Is No Man, also works for this prompt, but it is a book featuring 3 generations. For this one, I picked The Dutch House. I would have to imagine it technically spans 3 generations because it is set over the course of 5 decades. So I think I'm assuming somewhere the main characters have children of their own, but we'll see. I'm going with it, and if not, then A Woman Is No Man will work too. But this is another one that has great reviews, and the audiobook was narrated by Tom Hanks, which is really cool. Gotta love Tom Hanks. Next is a book about a social justice issue, and I picked Women, Race, and Class by Angela Davis. This one I have in an ebook form. As the title suggests, it is about women, race, and class. That's 3 social justice issues kind of meshed together and how they intersect. I'm definitely super excited to read this one. Next is a book in a different format than what you normally read. I kind of read all of the formats. There's not really one that I don't like, but and I don't know if this counts as a format, but classic collection of essays. I don't know, but it's Essays by Montaigne. Yeah, I really don't read books like this very often, so I'm counting this for a format that I don't really read. Sorry it's so dark. I'm losing my light. Let me try. It's kind of hideous, but okay. A book that has fewer than 1,000 reviews on Amazon or Goodreads. I picked The Missing Wife, kind of a whodunit thingy, psychological thriller. I don't think I've ever read anything by Sam Carrington. Not sure who that is, but I have it on my shelf and it has less than 1,000 reviews. So it's happening. Next is a book you think your best friend would like. And I'm going with Diana on this one again because we have a lot of similar tastes when it comes to media and whatnot. I'm going with Dolly Alderton's Ghosts. I haven't read it yet, but Dolly Alderton was the co-host of the HIIII. She hosted it with Pandora Sykes, who I mentioned earlier. This is Dolly Alderton's first novel, and if it's anything like her first book or anything like the HIIII, I'm sure Diana would love it, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. Diana, read this if you can. I'll let you borrow it when I'm done. Next is a book about art or an artist. Got another big daddy here. I picked The Goldfinch for this one. He clings to the one thing that reminds him of her, a small, mysteriously captivating painting that ultimately draws Theo into the criminal underworld. I've heard great things about Donna Tartt and her writing, so I think this one fit perfectly. And also, this cover is really cool. A little birdie peeking through. Next is a book everyone seems to have read but you. I picked The Color Purple for this one. Obviously a classic, won the Pulitzer Prize. Movie adaptations, stage adaptations. I feel like everyone and their mother has read this but me, but we will change that. And finally, the last prompt is your favorite prompt from a past POPSUGAR challenge, which I don't have a favorite prompt per se, but I chose from 2016 a book with a blue cover so that I'd have an excuse to read this book that I just got. Drinking Coffee Elsewhere. It's a collection of short stories and it has a blue cover. So that's it. That's my little list. This video took a lot longer than I thought it would take to film. I lost my light. Sorry that it looks weird in here now, but at least you got to see day. I hope you liked my video. I hope I gave you some great ideas for your upcoming reading in the new year. I hope you're doing well and staying safe, and I will be back again soon. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.